On this week's show, we're discussing the Xbox Partner Showcase that revealed tons of new games, PlayStation hitting the road with a musical symphony concert, and Project 007 could be the beginning of a James Bond trilogy. All that and much, much more on this week's GamerGuild Podcast. Good game, everyone, and welcome back to your weekly GamerGuild podcast, the show where we round up all of the week's video game news and stories for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/GamerGuildTV and available up there in the digital clouds on your podcast platform of choice. Just search for @GamerGuildTV or the GamerGuild Podcast and you'll find us there. Your podcast players for the week are myself, Chris, @ArcaneRogue, and my man of many pixels, Mr. Richie.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, and welcome back to a great show. We've got it all lined up, the wonderful news stories and everything to discuss and break down. But before we get into it, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring-a-ding-ding that bell so you're kept in the loop with all of the amazing content we do here on the channel, like this very show, like our weekly live streams, and like our retrospective looks back, because we always play things on this channel. Richie, we always start the show usually by reflecting and talking about what we've been playing this week.
Yeah.
Are you still playing Zelda, or have you branched out?
I have been still playing Zelda. Echoes of Wisdom specifically, because I have played Ocarina of Time this week as well.
That's true.
But yeah, been a busy week for me, so me playing it slowed down this week. So I'm hoping to get a bit of gaming done this weekend.
Ooh, it's been one of them weeks, has it? Adult week, yeah. I get that. I've been kind of similar. I'm still doing a mop up on Star Wars Outlaws. I know you were saying last week there's some trophies that were a bit tedious when you've watched your girlfriend play them, and I'm kind of reaching that point now where it's like just doing little collectible things. I haven't started doing the enemy ship takedown one. I think I'm going to wait till the end to kind of just go ahead on that one.
You can cheese it.
Oh, good. That's good to know, because when you read the description, it's like without taking a hit. It was like, oh, come on, why have you got to be so particular with the detail? Just let me destroy your chip. Why can't it just be that?
It's not without taking a hit. It's not without getting your shields depleted. Yeah, without taking hull damage. So you can take some damage. Do you want to know what the cheese is for it?
Go on then, tell me.
You just ram it.
Oh, what? Just crash straight into the enemy ship?
Crash into it. If you crash into it, it doesn't detect it as you're attacking, so it doesn't fight back.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So you just do that for like half an hour for each ship.
Wow, okay. So you just take a good run up to them and just crash into them.
And just as long as you don't take any hull damage doing it.
That is
be wary of other ships around, of course. But
yeah, that's going to save me a lot of time this weekend.
And you have to get lucky with the ship spawns as well.
Yeah, I've read that too. I'm not too far. I think I have about 75% trophy completion. It's just like the number game where it's like 20 of this, 20 of Nick's attacks, and when you realise that you've done it maybe once when you unlock the ability, and then you've never used it again because you'd rather just shoot them, because it's easier and it's quicker. So, built more Outlaws. I have been playing, actually, interesting for our audience, for those who didn't remember. Age of Empires Mobiles just came out.
Ooh.
This, I think yesterday, actually. So I've only played like a brief bit, but it plays like Age of Empires. Like, just you use your finger instead of a mouse cursor. Obviously, it's formatted differently for the input, which you would expect. It's a bit more simplified, to say the least, but again, graphically, thinking of like how we used to play and what it used to look like, it looks polished.
What was I playing before?
Humankind.
Yeah, it was Humankind. Because
I just pulled that out.
With it being turn-based, I always thought it would work quite well. However, the interface I didn't felt scaled well to a phone, so it was a bit finicky trying to press the buttons. Where Age of Empires is actually designed for a mobile rather than me just integrating direct touch and Stadia.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. We've got some Astro Bot news later on today, so I'll probably get back to that. But I'm just kind of raring to go on a few new things now. We've obviously got Life is Strange at the end of the month, but I might hold off a little bit to see what early reviews are like. I know they've done that weird, like, chapters 1 and 2 are released, and then 3 and 4 I think come out later. Maybe at full release, I'm not sure. People are playing it now because if you remember, if you bought the deluxe edition, you got it 2 weeks early, which is an obscene early access window for buying the deluxe edition, especially with a story that could be so heavily spoiled with like plot points and twists and moments. So We'll see what that looks like. But we did have a busy week in video game news. As I said, we have plenty to talk about. We had an Xbox partner showcase, some PlayStation details to talk about. So let's get the show rolling. Before we do, don't forget to follow us on all social media at GamerGuildTV, Facebook and stuff as well. We do put content out there if you're more of an old school social media handler. I refuse to call Twitter X just till the day I die, I think, or Elon Musk sells it. I heard it once on the radio this week. Someone called it the social media platform X is how they referred to it, and it was just in my brain. I'm just thinking, just say Twitter. Everyone knows what you're talking about. Just say Twitter.
Even when you read like write-ups and stuff and news articles, it's X, formerly Twitter in brackets.
Yeah, just to make a drive home point.
So your rebrand is a failure if people still use your old brand.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are listening to this show on Monday, there is still a 20% sale on our merchandise store as well. So that runs till the 22nd. So you got a little bit of time to snag some fancy merch. Richie's rocking the jumper there. I've got the t-shirt. There's a couple of other things on there, hats, mugs, jumpers, such as the winter season creeps ever closer to us. Why not wrap up with a Gamer Guild hoodie to keep you warm on those gaming nights where you stay up till early hours of the morning. The heating's been off for a long, long time.
Yep. Took the hoodie off earlier because I was too warm.
Yep, I'm the same. I'm still wearing a t-shirt. It's finding that balance, that awkward balance. And obviously we had a weekly live stream this past week. Richie, you dove back into The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. You are reaching the end.
I have rolled credits.
Hey!
I've actually rolled credits. It's done. I'm going to do one more stream, probably before the end of the year, because I just want that 100% completion, because I've played the rest of all the games so far on stream, and there's only a handful of things I need to do for completion. There's like one side quest I need to do, a few hard pieces to collect. It's kind of collectible-y stuff.
To get like a little bonus stream in there.
Yeah, so I'm just going to stick it in a bonus stream. That might be one where I do a members early access kind of thing, and then put it to non-members later. But story done.
Wonderful. So you've got the Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. So yeah, we get the Ocarina of Time quite early in the game.
I have no clue.
So
I didn't even know what one was. Remember?
I need to think about what I want to do now, because I liked having Zelda there as a thing that I stream when you're not available. So and there wasn't something else I want to showcase. I want to I can just jump in anytime I want, not play for like 2 months and then go straight back to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I'm going to do, replace it with. I'm thinking maybe like a Pokemon game or something.
That'd be interesting. There's certain stuff that I mean, there's a list out there, isn't it? I'm feeling Uncharted potentially, but then I also have that little voice in my head telling me that the Last of Us Season 2 is at the turn of the year. So I'm like, I should probably get to The Last of Us Part 2 at some point for the channel, in line with the Clicker Cast. So
I'm thinking with, like, say, Pokemon, it can be a long-running series that in episodes drop sporadically on the channel, and it'd be fine.
Yeah, I mean, the cadence of Zelda definitely shifted throughout the 1 year run that you had at it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah, so plenty of stuff coming. This later week, we intended initially to get back to Gears of War 2, but Call of Duty Black Ops 6 does drop Friday. So we might get into that, or we might save it for the week after because it's Halloween and there is the zombie mode. So just, again, follow us on all social channels, keep it locked to our Discord and stuff, and we'll keep you up to date of what's coming down the pipeline. We usually like something spooky around spooky season too.
Yeah, I am actually hoping as well that next year might be a bit more available for content, where it's been a bit all over the place for me this year.
Yeah, it's been a busy year. It's been a busy summer and then into now. But that's adulthood, and that's why we do this as part-time. We couldn't do it without your wonderful support, the fantastic members who do support the channel, make it happen. And we've got some great news for our members, actually. We'll sort out who actually deserves / wins these. I said deserves. That sounds harsh now. I've said that out loud. Our 5th year anniversary special edition badges have came through. Richie has them in stock, as well as our giveaway prizes from our 5-year anniversary stream. As Richie frantically trying to get the focus right on the video feed. It's the Gamer Guild crest, logo, sigil, potential tattoo
it's not gonna work.
that you've got there. And it says, established 2016. What does it say again? Celebrating 5-year?
Established 2019, 5th year anniversary.
Look, so that is a limited edition, custom run. Hey, there we go. We've got it. And yeah, we're going to be giving them away to some of our specialist members. So we'll have to look on the YouTube back end and see what qualifies for that. But yeah, if you support us, you follow us, we've got some wonderful gifts, and we'll get started with the giveaway as well for the t-shirt and mug from the 5th anniversary stream. We just had to wait for it to be dispatched properly. So it takes a little bit longer to get custom stuff made, it turns out, than mass produced.
Yeah, also I had some problems with Royal Mail trying to deliver to the place. When I'm all at work, they're trying to deliver, even though I told them to deliver at my safe place, and they just didn't. So it was a bit of a mess on.
Yeah, plenty of stuff to go through. But so t-shirts coming out to you. And speaking of t-shirts, Richie, you want to give a special shout out?
Yeah, so this is not a sponsored section because they haven't paid us any money, but this is something I just chose to do because there's an online website t-shirt maker called QWERTY who make all sorts of nerdy t-shirts. Literally any nerdy t-shirt you've seen me wear on this channel probably came from QWERTY. So I have been using them for a long time, and I actually won a t-shirt. So
Which
my
t-shirt
way of
did you
giving
win?
back to them. With the way the t-shirt competition works, they send you basically a discount, 100% discount code via email.
Okay.
So you can get a pick from either one of their discounted t-shirts, or they have a daily rotating daily discount on it. So like he's like maybe one or two t-shirts that are discounted on that date, then the next day they'll have something else. So I actually bought my girlfriend using it. I say bought. QWERTY have gifted my girlfriend a Harry Potter one.
Ah, very nice, very nice. I like it.
So
She
liked the look of it. So I was like, you know what? I'll be nice. You can have it.
Shout out to QWERTY.
Literally this one, which blew my nephew's mind earlier because it's all the different Nintendo handhelds. Wow. And my nephew's mind was blown because he has a Switch. He's like, what, all these came before the Switch? He's like, yeah, they did.
You just wait. You just wait, young boy. You just wait. Wonderful. Well, t-shirts. I've bought a couple of things over the years from QWERTY. I think it's just where you go for like your nerdy kind of bespoke designs that are very, very cool.
Yeah, and in my experience, to throw a little bit of Haribo in the bag with it. So
well, who can say no to that? We should maybe do that with our little badges giveaways. Yeah. It is Halloween. I'm sure there's some cheap sweets out there. But like I said, sales on the go. Thank you for being members. But Richie, we're here to talk about the news. So if you could introduce us to the
graciously gathered GamerGuild Gazette, aka the news.
The news. And as I said, our news is always brought to you by the fantastic Guild Heroes, the wonderful folks who support us. That little bit extra from as little as 99 pence, you can become a Guild Hero and support us and get early access to this very show, stickers and badges next to your name. Not real stickers and badges, digital stickers and badges next to your name. And a bunch of other great content and early access. So thank you to all those wonderful folks for supporting us. Richie, busy week this week. As I mentioned, we had a Xbox partner preview that dropped on Thursday. We didn't cover it live because I think sometimes the shows, when they're only like 20 to 30 minutes, it's worth banking them and saving them for the podcast so we can actually give our opinions and thoughts after a couple of days detached, after we've kind of just let them sink in a little bit. We're not reacting, no knee-jerk reactions there. And we got quite a good showcase.
Yeah, it's another one as well that they dropped kind of like the night before. Oh yeah, it's going to happen tomorrow, which makes it difficult for non-full-time content creators to handle.
It certainly does, yeah. In the most perfect ideal world, we just quickly jump on, cover it, but that's never really going to happen. It would take maybe a big, huge announcement for us to suddenly go, right, drop tools, let's get on and talk about it. Hopefully a big PlayStation showcase next year. That one we would definitely turn up for. But in the meantime, we got, a 20-30 minute reveal of some partner previews. It's kind of... I look at these things as Xbox, and when PlayStation, Nintendo do them as well. They have contractual obligations, I feel like, to wave the flag for their business partners. And I think sometimes these are summed up in, well, we wouldn't put it in the Xbox Summer Showcase. There's maybe a timely cadence of some games that are coming out that maybe need a bit of a marketing boost. And then there's other things in between where obviously indie games and stuff and bigger titles want to get them front and center on the platform and just say, talk about our product. So I personally love these things. I'd rather have like a nice little cadence where it's all mostly bundled up in a nice like Xbox branding or a PlayStation branding, rather than just be one singular trailer drops on the YouTube channel. I feel like it gives it a bit more energy and a bit more gravitas to it.
I'm with that.
I take it you did watch it after the fact.
I have watched it.
Great. Overall thoughts before we get into the breakdown?
Very forgettable.
Very forgettable. Interesting.
Yeah, like I don't know, none of this really stuck in my mind. Nothing jumped out at me.
Okay. Well, we'll get into the individual games anyway and see what there are. A couple of Game Pass titles as well, so we'll highlight to you folks listening and watching along when they are and what they are. The Kickstarter event off. This was one of those disembodied voice presentations, so no Phil Spencer, no Sarah Bond, no one got up on stage and said, we're porting more games to PlayStation. It wasn't one of those presentations. It was very much just a quick cadence of trailer, boom, 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 some gameplay sprinkled in with some nice animations. Xbox have done really, really well since, when they started in the developer direct. They'd like the transitions between each game. But I think they all do quite a good job, actually. Nintendo's have been fantastic from day one, and PlayStation have got that really good where they drop in all the shapes moving around and some cool modern animations. But kickstarting things off, we started with Alan Wake DLC, Alan Wake 2 DLC specifically, the Lake House. We know that's coming. It's got a date. It's actually out this week, so that might be something if I can squeeze some time in to jump back to. It is spooky season. And yeah, they kind of showcase in the Alan Wake DLC, it's the continuation of the story where FBC agent, who you do meet in the game at some point, she's back to investigate the lake house, and where apparently some of the water from this mysterious lake is building up. It's creating more paranormal events. And yeah, she shows up to sort it out. So you don't play as Alan Wake, you don't play as Saga Anderson from the main game. It's another character dropping in.
So I haven't played Alan Wake 2, but is this the same lake house that is in Alan Wake 1?
I would imagine so, yeah. So you played Control, right?
Yeah, I never finished it.
Never finished it, though. So the oldest house in Control, where basically they keep all these world-altering event items and objects. I believe after the events of Alan Wake, they pretty much, by the looks of this trailer, moved the lake house to the FBC to keep it under control and protected. But because it has the water seems to be leaking out into the Federal Bureau of Control, and that's causing like a crazy lockdown moment where one of these agents has to go in and see what it was. In the trailer, they kind of showcase different type of enemies that look like they're made of almost like paint, which could be quite cool and interesting.
I think this DLC is very much about tying Alan Wake and Control together, isn't it?
Even more so. Like if the main game, by the time you finish Alan Wake 2, like I finished Alan Wake 2 and immediately went and played Control. That's how closely they were intrinsically connected. And then the DLC we got to play as very much obviously Jesse from Control, but then there was also the guy who Iceman from X-Men, but he was also the main character in Quantum Break, which is Remedy's Xbox exclusive title from a couple of years back. But he's not officially the name. They don't call him by his name in Quantum Break, but it's the same actor, and you could tell what they're going for. Like, they had everything but the legal rights to use his character. You play as him for a little bit. And then this one is doubling down on this new character who's played by, you might recognize her, Richie. It's the same lady who played in Battlefront 2, if you remember the...
Oh, yeah, no. I know what you mean.
It's, why can't I think? I'm blanking on her name now. But yeah, it's the voice actress from Janina Gavanka. Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, she's playing it, and I think she's a brilliant voice actress, and she was great in Battlefront 2. Ironically enough, the Battlefront 2 campaign was good, bar some of the little tweaks.
I always said, because she was basically the main character in that game, when she was doing the main focus was on her, that game, the story was amazing. In there's like the act 2 of the game, went away from her and went to just basically, he's a hero of the week kind of style. Yeah. Crap. Went back to her. Amazing ending. So I was like... Yeah.
Let's have Luke Skywalker fight bugs in a terribly animated alien planet you've never seen in Star Wars before. Or have
Lando Calrissian invade a random base for no reason. It's like, it was fun, but it was like, I want to go back to her because I'm interested in her story.
Yeah. Was it Operation Cinders or something? Or Cinder, which was like after the fall of the Empire and the Death Star, the Palpatine had a plan to basically keep the Empire alive.
I'm convinced that they wanted to tell that her story fully across the main story, but they had to, for EA reasons, have other characters that are playable in the multiplayer, playable in the main campaign.
Yeah,
that was the impression I always got. But that's that
shoehorned in. But Alan Wake 2 DLC, really quick turnaround, out this week, 22nd. So Philly Boots, go play it if you bought the deluxe edition. Fantastic, you had it as part of the bundle, and again, it's spooky season, so get in. It still looks absolutely beautiful and gorgeous. One of the best looking games I think I've ever played, and I'm looking forward to when you get round to it finally, Richie, just so I can start to talk to you properly about it, because I feel like I'm withholding that information for so long now. Moving on though, we then got a trailer for Kronos: The New Dawn, or Kronos, depending on how you want to say that. This was the one that kind of stood out for me. This is from the Bloober team, who everyone might remember recently just released Silent Hill 2 remake, and they got loads of plaudits, and seemingly I feel like they've timed this really well. In the blog post they put out, it pretty much went off the back of the recently released Silent Hill. Like, they really doubled down on, like, the game was good. Like, we did it, guys. We did it. Now look at our own.
From the guys who made Silent Hill.
Yeah, remade Silent Hill.
Yeah.
It shows this. It's an interesting back and forth trailer between somebody playing chess and then almost looks like Dead Space in a way.
I was getting Dead Space vibes. Dead Space, Resident Evil kind of vibes.
Yeah, and after the success of that one, to give folks an idea, Chronos the New Dawn will feature a time travel story incorporating a post-apocalyptic future in 1980s Poland. As a traveller, players will explore and survive a deadly wasteland created by a cataclysmic event known as the Change. Of course, it's filled with monstrous abominations. It kind of looks like this is their take on Dead Space, but with some cool time travel elements. So you're going to jump between modern future space and going back to 1980s Poland, and figuring out, I guess, maybe what triggered the change. I think it looks good.
My issue with this is, I think the trailer was an interesting first trailer to kind of set things up, and it's immediately it'll come out. The interesting information is actually in the blog rather than in the trailer.
Yeah.
Like going, oh yeah, it's a time travel story, going from a post-apocalyptic future and to like 1950s Poland. That's interesting. Nothing interesting really happens in the trailer. It's like, oh, and getting the vibe you're going for. So it's like, I feel like this could have done with another trailer before release that actually explores the themes a bit more.
Yeah.
Rather than what looks actually, to be honest, fairly generic but well done survival horror.
Mm-hmm. The Bioshock dude taking down the old lady at the end of the trailer is like, oh, they went there. But Chronos the New Dawn, we don't have a date for it or anything yet, but that's the one that actually, because I wasn't that fussed on Blue Bear and I didn't maybe vibe with Silent Hill 2, having never played one, and similar to how we discussed last week, it's number 2. I don't want to start number 2. The fact that this is a brand new IP, and now they've got like a proven track record of making decent horror games with Layers of Fear and then the Silent Hill remake. Yeah. It's almost like this could be the Resident Evil 2 boost that kind of pushed Capcom into like the stratosphere they're in now. So it says 2025. If I was them, I'd probably just aim for Halloween 2025.
Yeah. Oh well, I was thinking it's 2024. So yeah, they do have another year to explore a bit better. So yeah, if you aim for Halloween 2025, that would be perfect.
Yeah, this is one I think we're probably going to see at like Game Awards, and then probably go big next summer.
I'm not really into my survival horror, but a good first showing, I think.
Yeah, I think so, and it can only get better now they've had success, because it could have went a very different way if Silent Hill 2 wasn't as well received as it has been, and it was like, oh great, now they've got out another generic one. But yeah, I think this could be their Dead Space moment. And it looks very interesting, so I'm very keen on that one. We then got a trailer for Blindfire, which is a first-person shooter. It's very neon 90s, and it's in access now.
They've pretty much stole the Cyberpunk font. At a glance, the colour scheme, the yellow and aqua, and the fonts, very similar.
Yeah, it's reading about the game. It says, Blindfire is an online multiplayer shooter that takes place in the dark. Brave the arena alone or team up in matches up to 8 players. So it reminds me of Laser Tag, essentially, the vibes I'm getting from it. Weapons live, lights out. Blindfire, essentially set in a shadowy underworld, the ultra-wealthy bet on illicit blood sports beneath a neon skyline for contestants lured by the promise of untold riches and imaginable glory. It's like Squid Game. It's kill or be killed. Brave the arena alone or team up in matches of 8. It's body count mode, score the most point. It basically goes into to talk about that. What I think is the most intriguing is some of the features. So because it predominantly is in the shadows and the dark, you can get things like your boosts, and like you get grenades and everything like that. Your skills and your perks are like echo location or scan the room or sound specific, so you can see like where your opponent's last motion was, like sense mode you get in The Last of Us when you listen, and then echo location and stuff like that, along with the radar. So it feels like it's going to try and utilize the dark mechanic very interestingly. But early access is out now. I think where this falls down, like you said, is the Cyberpunk choice for the art style, and then also another arena shooter. We've just seen Concord fall flat on its face.
Yeah, I think this is more interesting than Concord, though.
I agree. It's got something different.
the fact that they're going, right, we're going to make an arena shooter, but what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the lights and make everything, all the mechanics centered around that. It's got its identity where Concord just didn't. Concord just felt like a rip-off of everything else that exists. This at least feels like it's a unique IP, barring the color schemes and stuff very much leaning into cyberpunk. It might have just went with pink instead of yellow or something to separate it.
There's other neon colours out there.
If you put the fonts next to each other, they're not the same. But at a glance, they look at. It's only £7.50 on Steam as well.
Nice.
Which I think is it's at a price where I think people might be willing to give this a shot.
Yeah, it's not quite committing to free to play.
Yeah.
But it's giving you an interesting scope on things.
I'm personally not interested, but from the outside, I think it does look a lot more enticing. This could form a decent community, I reckon.
Yeah, it could do.
If the game's good. Yeah,
I mean, there's another game in the same showcase that kind of looks quite similar, but we'll get to that one later on. We then got an update for Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. We knew about that. It was confirmed in a trailer a couple of weeks ago now, but they actually have brought the date forward a week. They've knocked 7 days off the release. And interestingly enough, the leader of the game was actually saying it so you could actually go out there and play Monster Hunter Wilds. So it was one of them really like candid, tongue-in-cheek things of like, yeah, we brought the game forward so you would have plenty of time to play this before Monster Hunter Wilds comes out. Knowing, again, very Japanese-centric game, knowing the audience, knowing the target demographic and going, you know what, it would be foolish to release on the same day as a game that's going to be as big as Monster Hunter Wilds. So yeah tactical
Monster
move.
Hunter Wilds being a game where you're going to be, people who play it are probably going to be playing it for ages.
Yeah.
So you might as well get in front of it and go, you know what, you've got a couple of weeks. Yeah. While you're waiting for Monster Hunter Wilds, just come play us.
Yeah, and February's looking stacked. You've essentially got this on the 21st now. You've got Monster Hunter a week later. And before all this, Assassin's Creed Shadows is Valentine's Day. And I'm pretty sure Bloom and Rage moved to February to get away from Life is Strange. And then they've awkwardly fell back in arguably a busier month.
Yeah. Do you think it's too much Like a Dragon? Because it feels like every few months there's like a Dragon game.
It does, and there is, because they're known the studio for reusing assets, but the audience doesn't seem to care.
Yeah,
and I don't either, really.
Well, I was just thinking from like an outside point of view. It feels like every time there's one come out, I go, oh, that looks interesting. You don't get around to playing. I go, I might as well just wait for the next one, and then you never actually get around to going to it. It almost feels like too much. Yeah, I think sometimes it can dilute the brand.
As an outsider, 100% feel like it's just way too much. I like the aesthetic. I like what they're going for. It looks fun, and even like this dragon take on it is so like zany and out there. It's so Japanese as well. Like, just what can we do?
It's got its identity. Within seconds of this trailer, I knew it was Like a Dragon.
Mm-hmm. And I will say though, my money bets on this game is a better pirate game than Skull and Bones.
Yeah, is this the DLC for Black Flag we've been waiting for?
I mean, probably, is Skull and Bones a thing?
It's got the ship mechanics.
Like, what happened to Skull and Bones?
I don't know. It's probably still going.
Yeah, but does anyone care? Anyway, we spoke about that game long enough leading up to it. So yeah, Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza out February 21st. So it's one of those weird things. You say February, it seems ages away, but I guarantee you blink and we'll miss it. Yeah. Christmas will be gone, New Year's will be gone, and we'll be deep into the start of next year. And actually, around February, we should have another Xbox Developer Direct imminent, because I think they usually drop them in the March. So, hey ho, interesting stuff. Moving on, we got Mouse PI, which was the one that a lot of you will probably remember from its first showing. It's essentially like Cuphead 3D, where they've took that old Disney style animation from the early kind of 1920s, 30s, I want to say. And it's a shooter though. It's about a mouse private investigator. So thinking like, see, what can you help me with? There's been a murder, like that kind of stuff. Get me the clues. It's all I can describe it as Cuphead 3D. But you go around now. This one has such intrigue, like Cuphead did for the art style. What do you think? I'm just hoping it holds up beyond like 10 minutes. You know, like 10 minutes in, you're like, okay, I get the gimmick. Is it actually fun? Does it tell a good story with this private investigator?
I think it looks cool. I was never interested in Cuphead. I think the art style was gorgeous. Just the style of game, like, wasn't for me. I'm interested. I don't know if I'll play it, but I'm interested. What's It give me a bit of High on Life vibes, so
It does have that
in
big vibe,
in the
yeah.
sense where it's like it's funny and interesting at first, but after an hour, it wears off quick.
Yeah.
But I've never been a huge fan of Justin Roiland's humor, so that could just be a case of that's why High on Life didn't click for me beyond like an hour. I started finding things annoying rather than funny.
Yeah, I can see.
This could go a different way where it retains its charm throughout this entire game.
Yeah, it's one of those I have to be in the mood for, like even like Rick and Morty or something. You said sometimes it hits perfectly, and I'm like, this is just like such genius, simple writing. But other times when he's like, "Hey Rick, hey, what's it's like, dude, get on with your fucking sentence. Just finish what you need to say and get to the point." But that's kind of the comedy. Mouse PI for Hire is a gritty, noir-fueled first-person shooter that draws inspiration from classic cartoons of the 1930s. The monochromatic visual style of a hand-drawn rubber hose animation and retro jazz soundtrack are created with some of the same techniques from that era. As private investigator Jack Pepper, you will discover that a corrupt city full of crooks and danger is just a taste of things to come. Explore a noir-inspired city teeming with heavily armed gangs, mobs, and characters from the dark side to uncover the secrets of Mouseburg. So it looks like it's got solving mystery, power-ups for different player size, lock and load, shoot mechanics, and a city of danger. So, again, could be really interesting and unique, and it will probably be in the conversation for like artistic design and artistic direction. But
yeah, I think this is going to be one of them games where it is probably going to be a cult classic, like Cuphead is.
I could see that, but I'm interested in it. It looks pretty intriguing so far. We then moved on to Subnautica 2. Which was the, of course, follow-up sequel to Subnautica, the small indie game that was well received last time. This time, however, we're on a new planet and we have co-op, Richie, which I don't know if you know, but a lot of people played the first game, Subnautica, without it, but it actually got a PC mod which brought co-op.
All right.
So it's almost like the audience was clambering to play it with other people. And now it's like officially out. The devs obviously took all that on board and thought, yeah, cool, we'll go with that one.
It looks gorgeous.
It does. It's one of those, like, the color palette just like sings off the page, sings off the screen. It is coming to Game Pass as well, so if you do want to play this, we can certainly jump in. But yeah, co-op being added, I think, is a big move for that. And yeah, I'm not really too sure what Subnautica really is. It's like a puzzle.
I remember the first one being interesting, but never got around to playing it. Did it come to Did it come to Stadia? Actually, Subnautica 1.
No, I don't think so. Subnautica 2. It has 4-player co-op, we should point out as well. It's in early access in 2025, so I'm not sure if we get early access via Game Pass, but it's coming to Game Pass. So apparently it draws inspiration from other open-world titles. The first Subnautica game allowed players to explore the aquatic planet, undercover secrets of the advanced alien species called the Arctex, and encounter various leviathans that sometimes attack without warning. Subnautica later had a spin-off called Subnautica Below Zero, released in early access in 2019. Below Zero was initially planned to be an expansion. It became a standalone title 2 years after the original. Both Subnautica and Below Zero were lauded for their underwater exploration mechanics for encouraging players to comb through the depths of the ocean. So there we go, we've got a sequel, adding a bit more, but I think co-op will be interesting. Tools, bases, submarines, new life forms, that kind of, I think it's one of those games that it builds on just the intrigue of exploration.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting game, and with it coming to Game Pass, I think it might be one we check out on the channel in the future.
Most likely, especially with co-op too. We then got a confirmation Animal Well is coming to Xbox. I'd say coming to Xbox, it's out now. It stealth dropped. Animal Well was one of those games I think a lot of people forgot it wasn't even on Xbox. You know, when they come out and you just hear so much about it, you just presume it's on all platforms.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's actually out
when
now.
When did it actually come out?
It launched on PlayStation Plus in the summer, because I remember I'd installed it on my dashboard and it got like loads of like plaudits of like people's game of the year, best indie game, all of that, made by, I want to say, one person. Don't hold me to that though. And then it just went quiet. But I installed it and just never played
memory. It. Billy Basso, literally, yeah, one guy,
and I think he does the voice in the trailer as well, which it just looks super fun. It kind of reminds me of Strawberries. What's the game? Celeste. Just with like little puzzle things, but with a bit more of a creepy vibe to it. But yeah, it's still up there for a lot of people's Game of the Year conversation. So Animal Well, open out now on Xbox.
Yeah, looks good.
Certainly does. We then moved into what I call is either the ad phase of the presentation or just games that you've never really heard of. We got Eden Zero, based on Eden Zero, the novel series comic books. I'm not too sure. Graphic novel, yeah, by Hiro Mashima. This allows you to take on one of the Magna characters in a new video game, and then this is I don't know, Richie, anything to add to
Nope.
Eden Zero?
Not really.
It looks like your typical hack and slash.
I find games that are based off anime and manga, if you're really into it, the game's probably for you. But sometimes I think the quality's not there. I've looked at stuff before and went, this game looks terrible. It just happens to be attached to a big franchise, so I've usually stayed clear of it. So it's rare I'd pay much attention to like anime and manga games, just for that reason.
The main guy kind of looks like that guy from One Piece, though.
He doesn't.
Just from the cover art, the trailer picture, is like just generic anime person.
Yeah,
but
I see what you mean. But
so that was Eden Zero. We also then followed that up with a trailer for Eternal Strands, which is going to give Kojima a run for his money. We've got a second Strand game in the works, Richie. Reading from the website post, Eternal Strands. Decades ago, the Enclave unexpectedly sealed itself away from the rest of the world. The once powerful centre of magical wonders now lies dormant. After finding a way through the believed to be impenetrable barrier, a band of weavers, powerful magic users who blend sword and sorcery to devastating effect, must peel back the mysteries of this lost land. This says key features: a physics playground at the heart of the Eternal Strands, a revolutionary new system of gameplay, interactions, heat spreads, cold chills, and real-time destruction allows unprecedented reactivity in combat. Hell burning tree trunks at enemies with telekinesis, snap nearby trees to block opposing fire, or channel raw kinetic force to rip boulders from the ground. And then it goes on to talk about other. I'm not going to go into all of it, but this one looked pretty cool actually. When I was watching it, it gives me kind of Immortals Phoenix Rising vibes, like not only the color and art style, but also like the playing with the physics, and you've got certain powers. But yeah, how about you? So this is, of this block of 3 games we got, this is the one that's probably stood out for me the most.
Yeah, well, it's for me. My first impressions is every single time any developer chooses this art style, it feels like a cheap mobile game cash-in. I don't know. I hate it.
Like the overly bright colours and such.
Just the whole very rounded style. It's the Fortnite art aesthetic, which it can work occasionally. I enjoyed Immortals Phoenix Rising that used the same art style, but it's so overused. My first reaction to any trailer I see is, ugh. Okay, and then so you immediately, I always think you're starting off on a bad foot with it. I mean, I get it because it sells well for the kids, but it just, I don't know, there's something about it that just doesn't vibe well with me at all. It feels like you've picked an art style not to suit the game, but because it sells well.
I think Immortals was closer to Zelda for me, like Breath of the Wild. It was like there's like a slight little style change. Where I think for me it was the main thing. The faces weren't Fortnite, whereas I get this vibe looking at the cast of characters on this. There was definitely a decision made to kind of have that, like, I don't know why the heads are quite like slim and slender on all of these characters. Like every Fortnite character has like a weirdly thin head, is what I get.
Yeah,
and like they have the same specific type of eye style as well.
So I don't know. I feel like if they were a bit more inventive with the art style to try and separate themselves apart, I might be more interested in this game. But if you just read the blog, it sounds like it should be an interesting game, but. It's the same with my same thoughts with to Dragon Age Veilguard. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, that's a choice where it doesn't seem to match." The Fortnite aesthetic works for Fortnite, but when the game's trying to present itself as a bit more serious, then the art style is more comical. I don't know. It just doesn't work for me.
Do you think this last generation, because of the influence of Fortnite and other big games, developers have almost pulled away from trying to go for photorealism? Like when I think of like open world games that I really love, and I think of like Horizon and The Witcher, like they don't nail photorealism because they're held back by the tools of what they've got. But like when I think of the world and the characters, like they're doing their best to get close to photorealistic. They're not going for that cartoon style. And like you said, I feel like a lot of games they fall in this bracket of now you all look generic and the same. Whereas I feel like if you do strive for photorealism, you're trying to push the tech as much as it can to mirror real life, which is what games have always done to a degree.
Yeah, it's for me. It's not necessarily about photorealism. I do like photorealistic games, but not everything. I mean, I thought Mouse PI looks fantastic. That's very much not, but it's got its own identity. Where this feels like it's just because of Fortnite that this game exists in this style.
Ooh.
It doesn't. I don't know. I've never really been able to put my finger on why I don't like it so much.
I know why.
Why?
Because we're old men.
It could be that, but it's like, yeah, not everything has to be realistic. You can have a different more stylized art style. I love Echoes of Wisdom. Very much not a photorealistic game at all.
Mm.
So it's this particular style that just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, there's something else to add to that quiver of dislike as well.
Yeah.
Disclosure: AI generated content for this game. The developers describe. Disclaimer: the use of AI technology was strictly limited to internal development purposes, which will later replace in final assets and performances. This AI technology was used to create temporary placeholder audio assets for both voiceover sound effects. The approach would allow the development team create efficient and seamless workflows. These AI-generated placeholders were then replaced. All in-game text is human authored without the use of AI text. So it's an interesting caveat to have to get to there. But
I don't mind it as a development tool to just generate placeholders. So if you could use an AI generator to go, right, this is roughly how I want the character to sound, then get a voice actor in to add some nuance to the performance. Fantastic. I don't mind AI as a tool. But if you start using AI to generate your content that goes in the game or your level designs, you're just going to get boring content.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's going to get very generic very quick. Then the third one of this kind of like cluster for me was we got Mistfall Hunter from Bellring Games. It's coming 2025. Mistfall Hunter is a third-person action PvPvE extraction RPG.
Let's get all the tags in there.
Gear up for different classes, master combos, and strategic skill. Face intense battles against monsters or players, solo or with teammates. Only a successful escape will ensure to secure your treasures. Gods have fallen. In the wake of an epic war between gods and outer gods, all deities have fallen. Their blood has turned to the Glinden Mist, a corrosive force that sweeps across the land, warping the souls of the living and driving them into madness and monstrous mutations. Amidst the Glinden Mist, a few Assilient humans? Assilient? Don't use too fancy words in your blog, in your review things. Humans cling to their sanity, seeking refuge in the last remnants of civilization, yet hope endures. So this is, it's an interesting one. It looks like a Souls-esque game, but multiplayer. And then I'm a bit lost for what this is trying to be. I think, like you said at the top there, they've clustered as many game-type genres together.
Yeah, is it a multiplayer game? Is it a single-player game? Is it a narrative adventure? Is it... What is it?
Yeah. It looks good. Like, it does have a much, I think, tidier art style than the previous two. But then I feel like what they're going for from a gameplay standpoint is maybe detracting a little bit from the quality of the game.
Its art style is like as if you took, say, Elden Ring, then went slightly more cartoony. And I think it looks good.
It actually looks a bit like Hogwarts Legacy, like the overall colour palette and style of things. Like the way the spells are being cast and stuff. I'm getting Hogwarts Legacy vibes. But again, like it looked good. I'm just a bit confused as to like who this is for. If it doesn't have really a main story. Because it sounds like they're going for like quite a rich background with like the gods and the fallen and the people are being converted and everyone's fighting for survival, different classes. It sounds like it could be potentially good, but then I'm lost as a bit like, well, why am I fighting other, like I don't want to fight other people.
Yeah,
but
it's when it says PvPvE, so is it PvP or is it PvE? Like these are different. I don't.
But the good thing with all these games is, I guess, is they've got another year or so to kind of bring it to life. Probably 80% of these are going to be delayed to 2026 anyway, if we're honest.
You know what? This might turn up at Summer Games Fest and go with like a deep dive into the mechanics and stuff. You might go, oh, actually now I get it.
Trust in the process, as they say. But I think a couple of these come from some Chinese studios, so we're getting kind of like a new flow of input into the market. We shall see. We then got Wheel World, which is a bike. If you remember, actually, Richie, I think this was called Ghost Bike. It got revealed at, I want to say, Game Awards or one of Jeff Keighley's things. But they've changed the name to Wheel World. So formerly,
I actually don't remember it at all.
It looks a bit. It's unique, let's to say the least. Ghost World, also coming in 2020. Is it coming to Game Pass, this one?
I'm not sure. Don't think so.
Wheel World. I'm just trying to find out. Can't remember if we got the announcement last time.
Yes, coming early 2025 to Game Pass.
Sweet. I knew we were up to one another one. So actually, we should point out Eternal Strands is also coming to Game Pass, as well as Wheel World. So you've got 3 games so far revealed. Dive into the Wheel World as Kat, a rider chosen by ancient cycling spirits, hence the ghost. Race elite teams, trick out your bike and perform the long overdue Great Shift ritual to save a universe on the brink. Your bike is your destiny. So it's kind of taking an interesting premise of a cycling game and adding like ethereal threats to the world. But yeah, I kind of dig it. It's got an interesting premise as far as like indie games go. This is published by Annapurna. They usually have a good eye for the quirky, so that should be an interesting one. We then got the drop that Phasmophobia is finally coming over to Xbox. I think it's been out on other platforms for a while, and it's coming out next week, Tuesday the 29th. So for those of Phasmophobia fame, it was kind of part of that era, just like Torch in the Dark horror.
It came out in September 2020 on Steam, and as it stands, recent reviews very positive. All reviews overwhelmingly positive, with 580,000 reviews on Steam. So That's a pretty solid positive there. It's kind of like Outlast kind of vibes. Yeah, it's true survival horror where you probably don't even get a gun or anything. You just need to survive.
Yeah,
I think it's cool.
It also has up to 4-player teamwork as well.
Oh, that could be cool.
Which is interesting. I'd be curious to see in game how the 4-player co-op impacts the horror. Like having your friends around you and how that works is quite interesting. I've seen a few games recently use audio in interesting ways, where if I'm near you in the game, you can hear me, but the further I get away, I'd start to get faint. Yeah. So like there's basically like a proximity meter on our audio.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Which I think in a horror game could work really, really well. I don't think this has it, but
yeah. Interestingly enough, it's currently early access on Steam still.
Oh,
but they do say they plan to come get full release in late 2024. So with this coming out the 29th of October, it might come out of early access on Steam at the same time.
That sounds about right. We then got The Legend of Babu, which was shown off. It's a magical isle. There's a young boy and a dog. Who I believe it's a chow chow. Looking at it, I'm not that great on my. It also has an ear piercing, so do with that what you wish. You get to ride a big fluffy dog in The Legend of Babu. This kind of reminds me of Kena Bridge of Spirits.
Yeah, I get that.
Remember that? Just with a dog and a young boy instead of a young girl and her little rock creatures, whatever they did. The Legend of Babu is when Bumbo's only coin is stolen, a mysterious entity is pulled down into the sewer. Bumbo. Is Bumbo the boy, maybe? Legend of... Oh, wait, I'm on a different game. I'm on the Legend of Bumbo, not the Legend of the Bamboo. Legend of the Bamboo. There's a surprising lot of games that start with the Legend of...
The Legend of...
Babu. Oh, there we go. I found the right one then. I was going to say this description isn't reading right. Inspired by fables passed down by generations, the story of Sephir and Babu begins when their idyllic island is invaded by a demonic force commanded by an ancient evil. Together, with the strength of their bond, the boy and his dog set out to save their island, rescue their family, and defeat the darkness behind it all. 2 heroes, 1 legend. They work as a team, offering unique skills to overcome enemies, solve puzzles, and traverse dangerous and magical lands. Players both heroes throughout the journey, switching between the two to progress through the game. Swing, jump, climb, ride Babu through enchanted and breathtaking environments, solve puzzles and platforms through Black Forest, Roaring Waters, Cursed Wilderness, and Frozen Lands. It pretty much seems like Kena, but with a dog.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing.
Looks cool.
The dog certainly adds like a fun, quirky element that makes it stand out from the rest, right? Like if this didn't have the dog, it would just look like another
Another, yeah.
Zelda Immortals style game. But yeah, interesting enough. Just like Stray, throw an animal in there. Everyone's curious.
I'm getting the vibes that it looks quite linear as well, which could be a nice, refreshing change as well.
I've seen someone comment say Dog of War.
Dog of War.
Because the trailer ends with him having like the red thing down his
face. I totally get that. Dog of War. That's not a bad comparison to have, to be honest.
It's not at all. So, yeah, Legend of Babu, not Bamboo, that other random indie game that's out there. We then move on to Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, which again, this is the one that's from an actual Chinese studio that's coming out, published by 505 Games. I feel like we're getting like a sudden influx, aren't we, of Chinese-inspired games, which I'm all about.
Yeah. I think probably over the last 5-10 years, with Tencent getting more and more involved in the gaming industry, there's a lot more Chinese games getting developed and starting to make the way to the West. They've got to the point, these studios, where the quality is starting to draw the attention of the West.
Yeah, it's almost like if you were a publisher like 505, it's like, well, the game might need some translation tweaks, but because of like things like Unreal making it so accessible, they can just look at this and go like, if we just publish this in the West, it's got enough to it that it'll pull an audience with it. They do need to do something with the naming conventions, because I feel like we're getting a lot of... We've got Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, we've got Wu Kong Fallen Dynasty, and we've got Black Myth Wukong. And I think to a Western audience, it's like, at what point do people think they're all part of the same franchise?
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely a translation thing. Obviously, it means something to them, and that's why they're called that. But you know, when after a while, it's like, right, we need to start to delineate a little bit between... Because we've got 3 in the last year that all have Wu something involved in them.
Yeah, and it's like they're trying to make a franchise before they've got a game out sometimes.
Yeah.
I get that vibes. That's why it's Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, where you can see, like, okay, Wu Chang's the franchise.
Subtitle.
Feathers Survivor will be the next one.
Yeah, Jedi, yeah, Survivor. About the game, though, Fallen Feathers is a Souls-like action RPG set in the land of Shu during the dark and tumultuous... Tumultuous? How do you say that? Tumulus? What's with these words? I'm struggling with words. I've seen it before, but I just don't know how to say it. Late Ming Dynasty period, so plenty of vases got to be kicking around there. Plagued with warring factions and a mysterious illness spawning monstrous creatures. Become Wu Chang, a skilled pirate warrior struck by amnesia, who must navigate the uncertainties of her mysterious past while afflicted by the horrific feathered disease. Explore the depths of Shu, which is the area. I remember Shu from Dynasty Warriors. Enhance your arsenal and mastering new skills harvested from fallen foes. So it's a Souls-like game, which I know puts you and me off immediately, Richie.
Yeah.
Just like Wukong Fallen Dynasty.
I appreciate that I've said that.
Yeah, you get it out the way. It's like, right, we acknowledge what it is. Actually, all of them. Wu Chang, Wukong Fallen Dynasty, and Black Myth Wukong are all kind of leaning into that Soulsy-like style, which I wish they won. And I'd probably have a lot more fun with all 3 of these titles if they were just action RPGs. Like, don't make it controller breaking difficult, because I just won't play it.
For me, I appreciate the games, and when you defeat a hard boss, you do get that like amazing feeling. But if I have to spend an hour and a half banging my head against the wall, getting frustrated for 10 minutes of like enjoyment, it's like it just doesn't work for me. I want to enjoy the experience, not the result.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's why me and Rob, when we played Fallen Dynasty, we got like to the first boss, I think.
I didn't get past it.
And it was that great point where it was like, yes, I finally did it, and it took me a good 100+ attempts and multiple like need to walk away and come back. But then when I got further 10 minutes into the game and I got to the next boss fight, it was like 2, 3, 4, 5 deaths in. I was like, I'm out, because I don't have the patience to do it time and time and time over and over. Like, the satisfaction when I finally defeated him was great, but not enough for me to go, I want to do this all again in 20 minutes.
That was me with Elden Ring.
Yeah.
When I took down the first boss in Elden Ring, I was like, that wasn't amazing. But it's like, I really don't want to do that again. And there was points where I did feel it was unfair, because the game sometimes doesn't give... Elden Ring was better than Wu Chang for that.
Yeah.
The game didn't give you long enough to get comfortable with the controls before you're thrown into quite a difficult fight. Yeah.
I remember people saying like the second and third boss fights aren't as hard. It's like that's not how difficult you should ramp up in a game that requires quite particular skills.
I think even in Soulsborne games, the game should be subtly teaching you how to play as you go.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be. You don't have to have it pop up and go, here's the text box, read to learn the controls.
Mm-hmm.
But they should be slowly introducing mechanics. So the first boss should be like kind of maybe say focused on, right, if the way the game plays out is you have to do a lot of dodges or a lot of parries to defeat the bosses and then time it, your first boss should be teaching you about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then moving on to our final game of the showcase, we got FBC Firebreak, which is a surprising one more last thing from Remedy. And the Control universe, we have a 3-player co-op game set inside the Federal Bureau of Control. FBC Firebreak is a first-person shooter set in the same world, which, again, Remedy knowing for their third person. The trailer shows off gunfights in the Bureau of the Oldest House, familiar settings if anyone's played Control or the DLC, but the different approach to it. So it's not intended as a direct sequel, but it's more of a psychological hit game, says the creator. A co-op project from the studio. It was teased way back in 2021. And this isn't the same one that they were doing with Tencent that they shuttered. This was their own project. 505 games. It's free to play co-op shooter. And yeah, I don't know, Richie. Just it. I mean, it looks more interesting than Blind Fire, which was the shooter in the dark, because it's in Control / Remedy's universe. They look like they're using features from Control, like the in the trailer they show like a gnome that has like weird psychological effects to change the environment, like altered world objects, I think they were called. But it's got a bit more to it, this one. I think because of the universe that you're in. What's it doing for you? It's coming to Game Pass, so we can play it 3-player for free.
I don't know. I think because I'm just not particularly that interested in multiplayer games. If this wasn't in the Control universe, would you be even slightly interested?
No. And even though it is, I feel like it's still. I mean, we'll probably play it on a stream with people. And we'll have
I think
fun.
I'll save my judgment for when we play on stream because it's come to Game Pass. But the trailer did nothing to entice me into it.
Absolutely, it's
But it's just not for me though. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's their first attempt at a multiplayer game, but it is also going to PlayStation Plus as well as Game Pass. So they know what they've got, and they're not falling foul of like marketing it for £30-40 like Concord and other ones have.
The importance of building a player base before you start. Probably for games as a service, building a player base matters more than monetization right out the gate.
Yeah, I think with Remedy, it's one of those things, and we know from Alan Wake 2 that I don't even know if they've officially broke even on it yet. So I think this is a studio that makes stellar single-player story games, and that's clearly where their passion is, creating worlds and characters.
But they may need this to keep the lights on.
You need income of some sort, and I think if they can get just one source of money coming in through something like FBC Firebreak, it could work for them. I don't know why they really need to include the word FBC, because I don't think anyone who hasn't played those games, it won't mean anything to anyone. But
yeah, I don't know either.
It looks fun. Different weapons, different zones, and I think the benefit of it being in the Oldest House is if they do intend to add like seasonal content or different areas, the Oldest House could be anything. You can literally go down a corridor and you're in Antarctica. You go another one and you're floating around in water or alien goop or something.
So theoretically, because of that, the game should have quite almost infinite legs to it, because they could actually go back to Night Springs and stuff.
Absolutely, and I feel like looking at the trailer, it looks like they are going to lean into reusing assets. One of the levels is definitely one from Control, where it's got like you're almost in like a quartz quarry, and it looks like there's loads of like stalactites sticking up, and you're flying around there. The weapons look quirky. It has like a Borderlands vibe to say it, but they make good games for Remedy.
Fortress, actually.
Yeah, I could see it as well. Again, it's just I think maybe it would have been 3-player, seemingly PvE. It looks like you're fighting hordes of like zombies and monsters rather than individual 1v1, which that does appeal to me more. If you, me, and someone else on our stream can drop in and just hack down zombies or fight big giant monsters together, and that's it, and then we get a score at the end, I would much prefer that than going, oh, it's a team of 3 versus another team of 3, and it's a death match.
this could have a Helldivers moment where a community really centers around it, and because it's PvE, seemingly not PvP, the community is probably less likely to be toxic as well.
Yeah.
Which is what to be fair, that is one of the things that puts a lot of people off multiplayer games. Like, it puts me off trying to thinking about getting invested in multiplayer games. There's nothing worse when you just want to sit down and play a game and the community's toxic because you're not very good at a game you've just started playing.
Yeah. So, I mean, Helldivers did so well on that, like you said.
Yeah.
And I think it being on Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, I think should be a good launch platform, because then you've got a good cross-player
100%.
mix jumping onto that as well. So we'll see. But that was it for the Xbox Showcase. Plenty of games revealed and showed off. In terms of, just to summarise, we've got Subnautica 2 is coming to Game Pass. Eternal Strands is coming to Game Pass. Wheel World is coming to Game Pass. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers is, and as is FBC Firebreak. So you got a couple of things. Obviously, multiple platforms. Some of these are also coming out on PlayStation. There was no Xbox exclusives from what I recall shown off. They'll be on PC and other things as well, and Nintendo Switch, of course. Moving on, though, to some non-game specific news. PlayStation stealth dropped almost on us this past week the announcement of the PlayStation Concert Arena Tour coming to UK and Europe as of next year. They showed a little trailer off. I couldn't find the actual English trailer, but music from things like The Last of Us, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, The Last of Us, I've already said that, and Uncharted, etc. will be touring with it expanding to the US and beyond as of 2025 through 2026. They did one of those things, Richie, where they kind of showed it off. I think we messaged each other about it, and then it was like they were on sale a day later almost.
Yeah.
I had no time to take stock. We didn't have time to really speak to our friends about who would want to go. And then pre-order sales went up immediately for Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds, Newcastle, Glasgow, and London. But we got tickets.
We did. We both did.
We're going in April with a couple of people. I'm looking forward to it. It was one of them where I know you've done the Final Fantasy concert before.
Yeah, I've done a Pokemon one as well.
Pokemon one would be good, and I've done like movie ones recently. I've done Jurassic Park in concert as well, which again slightly different, but I think seeing visuals on a big screen while you get a symphony orchestra playing some of the most epic music of all time. But then when I saw the PlayStation one, I just thought of the games and thought they have such iconic epic music in. Like the Game Awards melody that Jeff Keighley does at the end of every year has some epic beats in it. And I was sitting there thinking, like, PlayStation specifically, like, just picture the God of War theme with the Nordic, like, doom, doom in the background with, like, the drums and everything. And then the Uncharted theme is, like, Orchestra 101. It's just a beautiful symphony of sound. And then The Last of Us is a bit more... Like, there's just so much. And inevitably, they will probably have Final Fantasy in there and some other things woven throughout. But I just think it
might not have Final Fantasy, to be honest.
Final Fantasy 16 is exclusive to PlayStation. And that's got an epic soundtrack.
But they might keep this specifically to PlayStation Studios.
I mean, I'll still be fine with that.
Which is not a bad thing. I'm like,
not at all.
Like as soon as you mention it to me, it's like, yeah, we're going. Like,
yeah, and then it rounds up with an Astro Bot rave at the end. We're going all synth and digital.
That's not part of the showcase. That's just Chris in his car on his way home.
So tickets are still on sale. I think actually at the time of recording, they don't go open to the public until probably this weekend, actually, past weekend. No idea what the demand's going to be like for them, because this is the first time thing for the UK.
And the demand will be all over the place based on where you are. I imagine London's will be very difficult to get tickets for.
But yeah, get together with all your gaming nerdy friends and go enjoy some orchestra. So I think we're just thinking drinks beforehand, go enjoy it.
Probably some food, drinks, go to the concert, and then
see what happens after. It is a Thursday, so that might
the Newcastle one's a Thursday. Yeah,
but we'll see. We'll figure it out. But yeah, if you want to get tickets, go along. We'll give a review next April when we're on the podcast. Talk about our thoughts and feelings and if it was worthwhile. Moving on to some Xbox Game Pass news. I'm sure it is. We've got some Game Pass titles for October and into November that have been announced. They've been confirmed by Microsoft. 16th of October kicks things off with South Park: The Fractured But Whole on cloud, console, and PC. 17th sees Donut County and MechWarrior 5 arrive. 25th of October is your big Call of Duty day. That's Black Ops 6. And Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare Warzone coming to cloud. It's a big day for Xbox Cloud and Call of Duty.
That's a great move, actually, I think, with Cloud. We might actually have to play Warzone. at some point.
Yeah, I think we will. It's been a while coming, but I think Black Ops 6 for Halloween maybe with zombies, but the fact that it's all been approved for cloud as well is going to be huge because that means no 180 gig download. You can just jump in and play it, so that's coming. The 29th is Ashen coming to cloud and console PC. The 31st, Dead Island 2 drops on PC via Game Pass Ultimate. And then the 5th of November sees StarCraft Remastered and StarCraft 2 campaign collection come to PC via Game Pass as well. There are a couple of things.
Starting to get more Activision Blizzard stuff through with StarCraft.
Absolutely. Well, we had that with Crash Bandicoot and stuff a few weeks back. And there are some things leaving. Frog Detective, Headbangers, Ikulinati, and Lonely Mountain, Mineko, and Night Market. That sounded like one big long game title, but it was actually 3 different games. They're all leaving. You probably don't care about them. But I think it's a big win. Big month, for Game Pass. I think Call of Duty alone, this is kind of like the telling Game Pass test, right? Since they've acquired them, since everything was pushed through last year, it's all been built to this. The game's biggest selling title for free.
Microsoft will be really deeply analysing their Game Pass subscription numbers on October the 25th to see how much of an impact this has.
Yeah. Have you noticed they've stealthily got rid of that $1 Game Pass promotion again leading up to it?
No, I haven't noticed.
So it's always like sign up for Game Pass for £1 or $1. I think they did it a while ago before Starfield came out? They did the same thing and everyone was like, oh, they know what they're doing. It's like, well, yeah, it's their business. Like, it makes sense. If you've got a game that's usually £70 launching, why would you then give people it for £1?
My advice is got Microsoft Rewards. You chuck a couple of things through Bing every day and you can get up to maybe quite easily in 5 minutes work about 300 points a day. 1,200 gets you a month of Game Pass Ultimate.
There you go, win-win.
And then you got CD keys for your actual codes for Game Pass Ultimate.
Yeah,
and you save yourself a lot of money.
Yeah, but as I said earlier in the show, keep it locked to the channel because we'll probably be streaming Call of Duty with you, the wonderful audience, at some point, either this week or next week for Halloween Zombies or just Call of Duty launching. Yeah. We always try and get in with the latest games, and it's been a good while since I played a Call of Duty, so it'd be nice to get back on the sticks and see how because it was always a fantastic shooter. That was undeniable. Like, the mechanics of the shooting Call of Duty are best in class, hands down. So.
Yeah, I'm more bent out on Call of Duty than moved away from multiplayer games rather than fell out. Because there was a point during Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare and Call of Duty World at War where I was generally playing online a lot and got quite good on PC. Hardcore mode, none of this crap normal mode.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get back to it. We'll see if we can shake off the rust and go click some heads.
It's more than rust now.
Yeah, it's more than rust. It's deep-setted rot. That's in there. Moving over to some Nintendo news. Nintendo Switch Online's N64 library will be boosted next week with the welcome return of Banjo Tooie, the sequel to Banjo-Kazooie. The Bird and the Bear are back, this time with polished up nice features such as widescreen mode, improved graphics, and everything else that you kind of expect it to come with. Richie, 25th of October this comes out. What's your history with Banjo-Kazooie? I remember playing it at my cousin's house and just remember like the bed and the backpack being really cool. I've played like Ukulele, which is the spiritual successor, but I was never a Nintendo 64 guy, so...
I think I only ever played it on an emulator. I think I only ever completed an emulator. I didn't own it on my N64. Yes, I know, broke the law. You might have needed the expansion pack to play this.
For the Rumble pack, was that?
No, you could get an expansion pack for your N64 base, so you put more RAM into your N64.
Oh, right, to run.
I didn't have that, so I think there might have been games like Banjo-Kazooie and Majora's Mask, which I couldn't play on the console. But I think I did roll credits on Banjo-Kazooie a long time ago through an emulator.
Right.
I've never played Banjo-Tooie though. Okay. But it's a good get.
Because it's basically like Mario 64, but with 2 wacky characters instead, right? That's the vibe I always got from it. Is it was just the same kind of level design and fun, but with 2 different quirky characters instead of being in Mario's world.
There is an argument that Banjo is better than Mario on the N64.
Ooh,
I'm not sure I agree with that, but I know that some people do rate the Banjo games higher than Mario 64.
Interesting. Well, it's out next week.
So it's in good company though. That's my point. Yeah.
Are there any N64 online games that are yet to come to this Switch Online service? I'm not sure of the full list. I know the big one everyone keeps shouting out is it Donkey Kong? Not Tropical Freeze.
No, Donkey Kong 64.
there's one of the Donkey Kong games isn't on there yet.
Donkey Kong 64.
Is it? Is that the big
Yeah,
is that the last big one?
I don't know. There might be other stuff. I haven't checked the Switch Online library in a while.
Because that's always
Maybe
curious.
The original Perfect Dark might be on there. They've only just dropped the mature thing, so I think they've Two Rock One's now
true,
there, but I don't think Two or Three or Two Rock Rage Wars. I don't think are over there. So there is stuff. Two Rock Rage Wars. I love that game, man.
Switch. It was a good game. Switch. I remember playing around with my cousins. Switch Online. Every game listed. Let's have a look.
Rogue Squadron.
64. Every Nintendo Switch Online game ranked. We could be here a while. Dr. Mario, Winback, Yoshi's Story, Extreme G, Pokemon Puzzle League, Snowboarding, Excite Bike 64, Turok Dinosaur Hunter, Pokemon Stadium, Jet Force Gemini, Kirby 64. Gonna keep going. Blast Corps, Mario Party, 64. Just anything I said, just imagine a 64 on the end of it. Pilot Wings, Pokemon Snap, Mario Golf, Pokemon Stadium 2, Sin and Punishment, Harvest Moon, 64. Wave Race, 64. Mario Tennis, Mario Kart, 64. Mario Party 3. So it's got quite a lot. Mario Party 2, FX Zero, Paper Mario, Perfect Dark is there, Star Fox 64, Banjo Kazooie, Mario 64, GoldenEye, Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, and then in at number 1, according to this ranking list, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Ooh, by that list, Richie, it seems like you should play Majora's Mask next, judging by the ranking.
Yeah, I was thinking of going Pokemon on my Switch instead, or actually, I was thinking maybe going Pokemon X and Y, but using an emulator.
Ooh.
I do own the game, and I do own a 3DS.
Okay.
But it's the emulator would be more for capture purposes rather than.
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
So either way, keeps chipping away. We keep getting new things added. Speaking of adding new things, next story, we got a blog post from Insomniac this week. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is coming to PC on January 25th. So it's officially announced and confirmed at New York Comic Con this past week. The latest entry in the Marvel Spider-Man franchise is coming to PC via Steam and the Epic Game Store. Bring Spider-Man's Marvel Remastered and Miles Morales to a new audience on PC. This is from the blog post. Insomniac and Marvel Games have had a great experience working with Nix's, says Julian, insert name I can't pronounce, community manager at Nix's. We're excited to continue this collaboration and bring Marvel Spider-Man 2 to PC with a suite of enhanced features, including enhanced ray tracing, a variety of setups and configurations, and more details close to follow. It doesn't sound like they have much more. It's going to include New Game Plus, the new suits, the ultimate levels, the symbiote suits, time and day options, post-game achievements, action figure photo mode, and a screen reader with audio descriptions. Which, I guess the biggest news from all this, Richie, the turnaround time from console to PC is getting shorter. I think it was about the cadence was about 2 years after launch. But more importantly, that means there's no story DLC coming to Spider-Man 2. We know Spider-Man 1 got the City That Never Sleeps DLC, which was like 3 story things focused around Black Cat and Peter Parker.
Have they confirmed that?
It's coming to PC. So they've said this is the where is it? I forgot what it says. There's somewhere in the blog post that basically confirm like this is the complete package of Spider-Man.
All right. Well, to be fair, it would be a bit late to drop it now. I think story DLC at this point. When did it actually come out? 2023. So we're talking it's over a year and haven't even revealed the DLC. That's a bit late for me. You want the DLC, your first DLC within a year of launch.
Mm-hmm.
But can I just point out how bad the Deluxe editions are?
Which is some more skins.
Yeah,
well,
you get the complete game with updates. 5 exclusive suits for Peter, 5 for Miles. Not too bad. That's fine. Early unlocks, terrible. Like want to break the game for yourself. Yeah. Plus 5 skill points again. Want to break the game for yourself. Photo mode items.
Yeah. Bit weak sauce.
It is quite weak.
This will do infinitely better than Until Dawn Remastered just did. 100%. However, on PC, Spider-Man's a phenomenal game. No surprise, Nix is doing a great job with these ports, getting them across. I guess the biggest thing without the extra content being confirmed, we know from the Insomniac leaks, there's a Venom game in the works. probably akin to Miles Morales in terms of size and scope. They have the assets, they have the character now, obviously. They've had another year and a bit to work on it beyond finishing the original game. I would rather have a standalone Venom game than DLC for Spider-Man 2, if I'm honest.
100%. Well, I think that's a smarter move. Actually, just don't bother with the story DLC. Just get cracking on with the next game.
Yeah. And even from a marketing standpoint, right, you've got the third Venom movie is out this year. And then I guess what cadence, when do you think this? I think this will be a thing for next autumn. I think September next year we could see a Venom standalone title quite easily. If you think about the cadence in which Insomniac get the games out, we got Miles Morales was the launch of the PlayStation 5, right? It was a cross-gen one, so 2019. And then you said Spider-Man 2 came out 2023.
Which I think was cross-gen as well, wasn't it? Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, Miles Morales was. Spider-Man 2. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Spider-Man 2 wasn't. It was just PS5. I think it was the kind of... Wasn't it like the first PS5 exclusive from Sony that wasn't cross-gen?
Perhaps. But Venom 2025 then, do you reckon? So kickstart the year with Spider-Man 2 and then kind of hope the buzz carries it through till that one. Interesting.
Yeah, I can see that.
Sweet. So moving on from Spider-Man to Mario Party Jamboree. It's out this week. And it's getting some decent reviews, Richie. As you tend to find with most Nintendo properties right now. Tell us about Super Mario Party Jamboree while I find a trailer.
It's Metascore, based on 68 critic reviews, is 82. User score 8.6. So users liking it more than critics, which is usually a good sign, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
IGN give it an optimistic 9 out of 10. I'm reading this from Nintendo Life. Giving particular praise to the board game gimmicks and game mode variety. Not only does it faithfully return to its classic formula established in the Nintendo 64 entries, it confidently improves upon it with a fantastic set of boards that introduce unique and memorable mechanics. Honestly, it's just the next Mario Party game for me. And they seem like they've done a good job bringing out a new Mario Party.
Yeah, it seems like just a known quantity Mario Parties at the moment. It's one of them I've never really played because I didn't have a Nintendo. But at the same time, it's like, as an adult, I very much doubt I'm going to be able to convince our friends to come around and play Mario Party on the Switch.
Yeah,
where we all take turns. It's like
this is very much where old men.
There's a certain era and a time to play this, but I'm pretty sure if you had like some siblings or your friends around for like a sleepover or something, this would be one of them games you could thoroughly enjoy. Just taking turns, see who wins, go back and forth. It's a big family seller game, and Super Mario Party Jamboree next in this entry in the series out now, and 8s and 10s, 8s and 9s seems to be fair.
Some of the critic reviews are a bit all over the place. Like GameSpot give it a 6 out of 10. Eurogamer give it a 2 out of 5. Reading from Eurogamer, I get that it's all fair and love and war and all that, but when the route to victory seems to lie so firmly in fortuitous flukes rather than hard-won ability, it's Mario Party. It can't help but leave everything feeling a bit arbitrary as a result. I think this is down to what you want from like a board game style game. If you want it to be based on skill and decision making entirely, then you're probably not going to like it.
Go play Elden Ring.
Yeah, if you want, but that's not the point of Mario Party. Mario Party is because at the end of a Mario Party game, there's random stars that just given out, so you don't know what they're going to be, so you can't really rely too much on a strategy. So it's meant to be just about fun in the moment, rather than I won the Mario Parties. So I think I'd probably lean more towards like the IGNs and the Eurogamer.
Yeah, it seems fair. Take it for what it is. You can't judge every game. You can't put like Elden Ring and again when you're rating Elden Ring 1 to 10, you're also comparing it to like a Barbie's horse riding game. Like you still need to put a number on it. So Barbie getting a 7, Elden Ring getting a 10. It's like it's all subjective at the same time. You need to understand what Mario Party is, and in the family party game genre, a 9, 8 is probably it's probably up there with the best of the best.
You know what it is? When Nintendo got all the critics together in a room to play Mario Party together to write the reviews, Eurogamer lost.
Yeah, they lost the game. Didn't roll the dice. So moving on, we've got some interesting news from IO Interactive. Project 007, which we knew about. It's been in the works for a while from IO Interactive. Actually, it's been in the works for quite some time. When was Hitman 3? That was like
God.
2019, 2020. So it's been
Came
a
out
good
on
couple of years.
Came out early Stadia, so 2019, 2020 probably.
Damn. Either way, Hitman developer IO Interactive have been working on Project 007 for quite some time now, and in a new interview, company boss Hakan Abrak has been teasing the potential for future games as part of this Project 007. The hopes that it can become a big trilogy. Reading from a website post, it's completely the beginning of a new story, hopefully a big trilogy out there in the future. And equally important and exciting, it's a new Bond. It's a Bond we've built from the ground up for gamers. It's extremely exciting with all the tradition and all the history there is together to work on this, with a family of creating a young Bond for gamers, a Bond that gamers can call their own and grow with. He first mentioned the idea to deliver trilogy a couple of years back, but giving updates through this interview, he says he doesn't have any big updates, but believe me, there's an itching there, and we'll be talking about it soon. So we follow our plans, the production going extremely well. Hi, Cassie.
Chris's daughter has just turned up to join the podcast.
Oh, yeah. Say hello.
I just heard "Hi, Daddy" in my ear.
You waving?
Hello.
Yeah. You telling us all about the gaming news? Yeah? You go see Mammy now. Bye-bye. Yes, Cassie. Anyway, for young gamers, a James Bond for young gamers,
Yeah.
she's heard that she's going to be a future secret agent spy. But yeah, no updates coming in for that one at the time, but plenty of cool stuff upcoming. It was announced back in 2020. I'm excited. I think Hitman, IO is a great studio for them. We haven't had a Bond game in a long, long time.
I've loved how it's going to be an original work, which means they can make it a video game rather than trying to keep the cadence of a movie. And sometimes movie game, the cadence of a narrative in a movie doesn't work well for games. You experience the narrative in different ways. IO kind of nailed what they were doing with Hitman. I'm excited to see more about this game. But I'm happy for them to take the time that they need.
I mean, there's no rush. The MGM and such haven't even cast who they're going to play the next Bond. So I think what's great for this game is it's coming out potentially in a void where there is no actor associated to it. Daniel Craig's retired. He's done with it. There's no new face to compare it to. They were never going to get like image likeness for the current Bond because that's just, like I said, with it not being a movie tie-in, it doesn't have to look like anyone. Like, I had a great time as a kid playing like the Pierce Brosnan ones and stuff and having the aesthetics look right. But I think gaming's evolved to such a point where you could tell such a deep, rich story around a very deep, interesting character in a very interesting world of being a spy. That doesn't need to be attached or associated to anything else. Like, the books existed long before the movies. So just take the source material and just make a freaking great game.
I like the fact as well. Well, because Bond have changed the lead actor so many times through the thing. Everyone has their own Bond, but everyone accepts that there can be a different Bond. So IO can make their own Bond. I like the fact that it's telling a story about a young Bond. So it's probably basically an origin story here of what their Bond is, and it gives them so much license to do what they want with the character, to go in the direction they want.
Absolutely. You know who I hope we don't get, though?
Sean Connery.
No.
Timothy Dalton.
For those
George Lazenby.
No. The more you talk about this, the more funnier it gets. It's the Agent Under Fire Bond for PlayStation and the GameCube, I think it was, EA's. They didn't have any license, so they just made a random Bond, and it's just the most generic white guy, but his face was so bad. Look, they didn't even want to show him on the box art.
It's clearly what's it called?
It's styled on Pierce Brosnan.
It's Pierce Brosnan,
but they
and
didn't
just
have
styled it and then just put him in shadow so you can't tell.
Yeah, it's an interesting game to say the least. And I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of time for it, but in terms of just the visuals of this guy, I'll try and get a picture up for the audio listeners, viewers. Yeah. But if you just do a quick Google, Richie, you'll find this guy. Well, you might find this guy. Agent Under Fire, it was called.
Yeah, I don't know. I think nowadays as well with IO, I think they're taking the care and attention that it needs, and I think I trust Bonds in better hands with IO than it is with whoever owns the movie rights. To be honest,
yeah, it's MGM and Amazon. I think now share them.
Amazon's interesting, but I knew it was MGM. But
yeah, I think Amazon just straight up bought them. I think they might have bought MGM. I can't remember. But either
Right.
way, we'll see what happens with it. Moving on to some final quick news stories for the end of the show. We've got some Astro Bot DLC. I did mention it. I'm looking forward to getting back to it. The speedruns have been officially confirmed. Starting this past week, 17th of October, they are going to be dropping a speedrun every single week, leading up till the middle of November, and that's going to include some new bots and stuff coming later in November. So far, we've got Building Speed drops on the 17th. That's out. Let It Slide on the 24th. Halloween, Spring Loaded Run. 7th of November, Helium Heights. And 14th of November, Rising Heat. So this is just, again, 5 new levels, focusing on speedruns. Hopefully the difficulty isn't crazy because there's one master challenge at the end of the game, which took me a good while to get my head around it. There's a video up on the channel, actually, of me doing it. It's actually one of those videos where I thought I'll randomly put up because it'll be difficult, and there'll be trophy hunters after it. And it's got like 1,500 views just for me doing my trophy run for it. But I think this is a tactical move by Astro Bot. Free, all free, by the way, so you don't have to pay anything for this. Leading up to the Game of the Year conversation.
Yeah, to keep himself in this conversation.
Yeah, it's like everyone played it over that long, long week, had an absolute blast with it, and then everyone that I've spoke to 100%ed it. So there's nothing else to do because everyone played it to the max. And then I think this is a really good way, just like keeping it in the conversation. End of November, we'll get some new bots drops, so there'll be like hard content to go back to, and then it's Game of the Year.
I think this is a good cadence as well for DLC. Because it's not 6 months of sat there waiting and to go back to game and go, what are the buttons again? How do I play this game? Your muscle memory's gone. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh yeah, I only rolled credits a few weeks ago. Let's go.
Absolutely. So look forward to that now and every week up until end of November. Or you could wait even longer, which is the oddest thing, and I absolutely love it. Age of Empires 2, new DLC, Chronicles Battle for Greece, is coming out November 14th, Richie. The first chapter is going to introduce new civilizations, Achaemenids, Athenians, and Spartans, and also includes a 21 scenario campaign, voice acting, and animated cutscenes. Age of Empires 2, Richie, getting a new campaign 25 years later. Nice. I love it. I love it. It's so good.
We are in a golden age of video games. Oh, yeah. You know what? Let's bring back Age of Empires 2. It's like, oh, people like that. Let's just keep making DLC for this. Like, we should never have stopped.
Yeah, we made Age of Empires 4, but it turns out everyone still preferred 2. So let's just go back to 2 and keep doing it. Like, the dev team will work on this one. It must be such a surreal environment to work in. Going like, I played this before I even thought about working in video games, and here I am making new content for a game I grew up with.
Well, I hope there's guys working on this who've got stories talking about, you know what, when I was a kid, I got into video game development because when I was a kid, I played with the map editor and Age of Empires. I made my own maps because me and you both did that.
Absolutely.
Like, made my own maps, and that inspired my passion for video game, like to make video games, and that's why I'm here working on the DLC for the game that got me into it 25 years ago.
Yeah, I did full fake campaigns, like hand-wrote, like scribbled maps and stuff of the layout I wanted to do and the story behind it and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, great game. Enjoying that one. There is some news around Microsoft Cloud Gaming features, but I think we'll save it until we actually get the official post from Microsoft that's out. It's a lot of stuff we knew about, like direct cloud computing, improving the servers. This is all powered by Call of Duty Black Ops coming, and then basically they're obviously prepping the foundations to cope with presumably the massive influx of players that Call of Duty is going to bring. But until Microsoft come out and officially say, like, this is what is going live with cloud improvements, we'll get to that one. I think I want to touch on as our final story for the week, the kind of main quick one, is the PlayStation 30th anniversary pre-orders. So now we're getting into November. They're going to start rolling out. We're going to see people get theirs, hands-on, unboxings, all that kind of jazz. I don't know if you noticed, Richie, this week some suppliers out there in the UK in particular, they've been cancelling orders. And I know I praised Argos a couple of weeks ago for my Astro Bot pickup, where Amazon screwed me over. Doesn't seem like they're as good as I maybe once thought. They saw a huge demand for the 30th anniversary consoles, and they've unfortunately had to cancel for being processing correctly a couple of people's orders. They've contacted them via a message saying, like, thank you once again, apologies for the issue with your order of the PlayStation Anniversary Edition. It's been like a block that said that, what did it say informed? A mass cancellation. So I would be so pissed off if I had the pre-order. Like, remember, they only made 12,000 of these globally. I can't believe Argos even got any.
And the worst thing about this is someone's probably went to Argos to pre-order, got the thing on, right, great, that's sorted. Then
peace of mind.
If they had the stocks and the processing right, they might went, oh, there's none there, I'll go somewhere else. And still got one.
Yeah.
So there's people who are now going to miss out because of this. And it's like, it is limited edition and it's kind of shoddy. It's just shoddy from them.
Yeah. You're not getting one. It is
do
that.
better, Argos.
It is that.
We like you.
Yeah. It's, so it says, while Argos hasn't specified the number of orders impacted by the cancellations, it added, we've contacted the customers affected to tell them we're sorry and truly disappointed and confirmed a full refund. Damn right. But it is that thing where there's only so many globally. That's why I only ever considered going through PlayStation Direct for my orders. Like literally direct to the source, because I didn't want to wait for Amazon. Not that I trust Amazon. And it's, once you get another contractor involved, that risk mitigation, it's amplified, isn't it? Because
this is where Sony, I think, for limited edition runs, they should go, you come to us direct, but if we don't distribute directly, this is our distributor in your territory. That for limited runs, that's how I think it should be. It's like, just come to us.
Yeah.
And if we don't, you can go to maybe an Argos or GameStation or an Amazon if they don't distribute in your territory.
Yeah.
Just Sony do distribute in the UK, so there's no real need for Argos to be involved in this.
Yeah. I'm genuinely shocked Argos got any allocation. You must be talking sub 100, if that. Because again, they're doing a limited run for the anniversary. It was only 12. I'm sure it was 12,000. It's something to do with the date the original console launched, but I can't remember what the specific date is. It's embossed into the console in the launch video for it. That might be it right there. No, I can't find it. Either way, it sucks. And some of the people in the Twitter feeds and stuff have been saying, they've missed an opportunity to buy elsewhere, thinking their orders were confirmed.
That's what I said.
So, unfortunate.
I actually feel a bit sorry for Argos' customer service team at this, because they've just been shafted as well.
Yeah, nothing you can do. Quick one, Until Dawn movie coming next April. Game Remastered did terrible. Let's hope the movie does better. 25th of April. Odd that they're not bringing it out around Halloween season, but hey ho, quiet time in April. Get your movie out.
It is weird.
It is. And then the final one I want to touch on, because the game's awesome, was Brutal Legend. If you remember ever played it, Richie, from Double Fine, this is the Jack Black. It's essentially, before he went and did Pick a Destiny and stuff, it's if Jack Black was just a real... he's a roadie who works for a rock band, and he gets sucked into a fantasy world where rock is the power of that, and he's got an axe instead of a guitar axe. And he just fights monsters in a demonic-fueled world with rock music being the focus of it all. It's as you can imagine, Jack Black playing Jack Black, and it's a fun action hack and slash game.
I think I got this in a Humble Bundle before, so I played maybe about 5-10 hours of it, and it's after an hour or two, I was like, is that Jack Black? Because I had no idea what the game was when it came out. Well. Yeah. I think I must be in my early 20s, and it's like, oh, he's like, is that Jack Black in a video game?
Yeah, and obviously looking back in hindsight, it's like, of course he was willing to be in a video game at such early in it. They also have Lemmy from AC/DC as well, not AC/DC. Motorhead, in it is a voice. Ozzy Osbourne's in there as well. So they literally double down on basically rock in this. And I remember playing it. It's a great game. He's like I said, it is just like hack and slash, fighting demons and monsters and stuff. But the reason it's in the news this week is it's had its 15th anniversary since it first came out. It's been that long already. But there's a trophy in it, or an achievement in it, called the 6 Degrees of Schaefer, because it's Tim Schafer who made the game. At Double Fine. And this past Sunday, he went back and played the game all day long to help people unlock the trophy, because the trophy's called 6 Degrees of Schaefer, which means you can only unlock the trophy if you've played with him directly or linked to somebody who's played with him before. So it's as a ripple effect. So the more times he plays it, the more people play with him, and then if you play with them players on, and it kind of has that ripple effect. But currently only 14,000 on True Achievements on Xbox have unlocked this, so that's less than 10% of the players in the world. So the more Tim Schafer plays this game, the bigger ripple effect it will have long term. And now the game's 15 years old. He kind of owes it to the audience.
him spending 6 hours playing with people means that all these people can now help the next people and help the next people and just get that kick-started again.
In some weird way, it's a horrible trophy.
It's a terrible trophy.
It is, yeah.
Because you can't just get it through your own. You have to be lucky to play with someone else who's played it with Tim Schafer. Schafer is like, that's terrible.
It's an odd one, but so he jumped on
but
for 6 hours.
At least Tim Schafer himself is doing the right thing.
He probably knows. He owes it to the audience out there. But Brutal Legend. It's kind of one that I feel like is due for a remake. Not like a remake, like a port. I feel like it's definitely due a port. PlayStation 3 era. So get into that. But Brutal Legend.
A remaster to PS5.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely one. I think it holds up. Again, the voice acting from Jack Black's really good in it for the era of game it was. The graphics are kind of like, thinking of all the PlayStation 3 games I've gone back to recently, like Space Marine and stuff, it's got an artistic style enough that it wouldn't be out of place in today's world. So, 15 years. It is Rocktober after all. Get on it, Double Fine. Get Jack Black back for a sequel, perhaps. But that brings us to an end of this week's episode of the Gamer Guild podcast. Thank you, everyone who's tuned in and listened. And, of course, we round out every show by looking back at this particular day in video game history. We are on the 19th of October at the time of recording. Richie, what stands out for you?
Ooh, well, there is an inferior kart racer there. Crash Team Racing.
No, there isn't. Crash Team Racing, 25 years ago today in 1995.
I love Crash Team Racing.
I love Crash Team Racing. It's fantastic. We still need to
not
play
quite
it
as good as Mario Kart.
I'd say it's better than Mario Kart. The drifting alone sets it aside. It's almost like there's a full episode exclusive to members, I think, still, where you can get on and see me and Richie actually argue it out in a virtual court. We even put suits on to have that discussion.
We did.
So, go out there. But 25 years ago since Crash Team Racing hit our shores. Of course, we got Nitro Fueled, which came out a couple of years ago as well. This is one that I think when it drops on Xbox, Game Pass, and xCloud, we'll probably get in and do a couple of races with the audience. We also had Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro 23 years ago. That was kind of the PlayStation 1 game that elevated the swinging mechanics. We also got Crash Tag Team Racing 19 years ago. Not quite as good, but Nitro Fuel did put some of the levels into it. So it's like an amalgamation of them all.
Fallout New Vegas 14 years ago.
Damn, that long since Fallout.
Arguably the best Fallout game to date.
Not going to argue that. And then 15
years
ago...
I'm making the argument. It just isn't that. I know it's an argument.
And 15 years ago today, we had the original Borderlands came out on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. So just as old as Brutal Legend. Yeah. Sweet. That's a decent run.
Yeah.
And 1 year ago today, Spider-Man 2. You're asking how long ago Spider-Man 2 came out. It's today, 1 year ago. So there you go.
Final Fantasy 6 as well, 30 years ago.
Ah, good. End of October,
I've
getting
never
much
played
better.
it.
Wow. Any reason?
I'm a Final Fantasy fan, but it was a Super Nintendo game. I didn't have one. I'm a Final Fantasy fan, but my fandom is mainly 7, 10, 15. There's gaps. There are very much gaps in my knowledge, which is why I wanted the Pixel Master collection. I just haven't got around to it yet.
Well, mine knowledge goes as far as 16, so you win out on that one.
The newest one.
You win out on that one. But let us know in the comments below. Did you say it one more time?
I was going to say, have you seen tomorrow? It's October the 21st.
No.
Should we save it for another
year? Save it for another year. We'll chance it. Yeah. But that's been episode 62 in total, 433 of the Gamer Guild podcast. Thank you very much, everyone who's tuned in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and stick along with us for this week's live stream. And we'll reach out to all the people who've won the prizes and giveaways as well. My name's been Chris.
I've been Richie.
We've been the Gamer Guild podcast. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And remember, play whatever makes you the happiest. Goodbye.
Bye.